Okay, today's project is going to be what I think will be the part one of a series of videos where I'm going to be building a small cabin in the woods on my property that I'm going to use for hip camp. So I have a small campsite that I built up there, which I'm going to show you in a second, that I've been kind of trying out on Hip Camp, which is a little bit like Airbnb for camping. It's been popular, so I want to add another spot, and I thought it would be cool to have a little cabin. So let me show you first the this is the parking area that I've got here, and let me show you the little campsite that I built, and then we'll take a look at the new area for the cabin. Okay, this is the first site that I built. Got a space over here for a tent, little fire ring. I added this fire pit once it started getting dry, just some added protection from having anything get out of hand. So the new spot, we'll backtrack here a little bit. Okay, this is it. This is the spot. So I'm going to clear some of this brush out here, and I think that the cabin's going to go right in this area. So my goal for today is to start clearing this out, maybe getting it a little bit more leveled and ready to build at. Okay, well, I got the spot cleared, and at least the little trees and stuff out of here, there's a lot of brush, but I think I'll start on the cabin, and then this will get trampled down while I'm working on that. And hopefully by the time that's coming along, I'll have a better picture of how this front yard area layout should look. Okay, I got my first batch of materials up here. I think this is everything that I'll need to build the floor, so that's going to be step one. I'm gonna try to find the lowest spot and place one of these in the kind of the lowest spot, and then work from there and dig down the other ones as much as I need to get the whole thing level. That's the plan. Okay, I got this first board set. I had to dig an awfully deep hole over here to get this thing level. Fortunately, there weren't any roots down there. It was pretty easy, just sandy hole. Most of the time when I try to dig anywhere up here in these woods, it's about a quarter inch of soil and then a root or a rock or something. So at least there's that. So there's the first board, and then we'll just work off from that. Okay, that is the rough footprint. So the footprint of the cabin per design is 10 by 8. This is 10 by 10. So I'm planning on a little 2-foot deck over here in front of the door. And then I'm going to have to build out more. I'm thinking like a 3-foot deck this way for the awning that swings up. So there will be a little place here to be. But this will be enough to build the cabin on, plus a little extra. So the next part is going to be the joists, floor joists, and then the paneling on top. Okay, I think that's it for the day. The next step that I want to do is a little bit more support underneath a few of these, because right now this whole thing is only supported at the 4 corners. So I've got a few more of these castle blocks, but I definitely want to save at least 2 of those for the patio deck out front here. And a lot of these are not very far off the ground, so I think I'm just going to use some regular bricks sort of here and there, maybe one in the middle of each of these, and then one on either end in the middle. Maybe down here where it's pretty high, I'll use one of those castle blocks. But so a little bit more on this, and then we'll be ready to put the plywood sheeting on. Okay, I'm out here for day 2 on this build, and I was thinking about it last night, and what needs to happen next really is to build out the deck parts. I was thinking I'd do that later, but it occurred to me that it's going to be a lot easier to attach the joists for the deck while this is still accessible from this side. So I'm gonna build all that out first, and then once that's all done, then start covering with plywood and decking and everything else. So that's the plan. Let's get to it. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we've got the joists all done for the decking, and I added some additional supports for the main floor. So with this all complete, I think we're ready to lay down flooring. So I'm going to start with the plywood for the main structure, and then that way I'll see where that ends up, and then I can do the decking up to that and make a nice transition. So we're going to start with the plywood. Getting it up here is not easy. Fortunately, I only need 3 pieces. So I'm going to drag those up here and lay them down. Okay, back out here at the cabin for day 3. So today I was going to work on the floor of the main part of the cabin. Thought about a couple of different options for what kind of flooring I would do on this, and it's been a hard decision, but I think I'm going to try this book pages floor. So I've seen a couple of versions of this. Basically what I'll do is cut out all these pages and then lay them out and glue them down, let that completely dry, and then do a clear coat polyurethane floor finish polyurethane on top of that. So I think it'll give it a kind of unique, quirky, whimsical feel, which would be good for the cabin here. Also cheap, much cheaper than doing like a wood floor. Also, you know, this is it. This is all the material, so this is easy to haul out here compared to a whole bunch of packages of wood floor and then all the associated sawing and everything. So we'll see how this turns out. Worst case, if it looks terrible, I can always put wood floor over the top. So we'll see how it goes. Okay, I got this first layer done. I'm not gonna lie, this was a pretty long, tedious process, laying out these pages and gluing them down. This first layer took, you know, the better part of 2 hours just for this. I think it came out all right. It's kind of neat. I planned to do additional like big circle kind of design in the middle to break it up a little bit and give it a little more interest, but I can't do that until this dries out a bit. It's too wet to get onto it right now, so I'll give this some time to dry, and then tomorrow, if I can get back up here, I'll do my design, and then it needs a good solid 24 hours to totally dry before I can start putting the sealant on. So we'll come back up here a little later when it's dry. Okay, I got my pages all glued down in the pattern that I wanted here. I think it turned out okay. It'll definitely give something interesting for people when they come into this little cabin. I also think that it looks a little weird right now, but once there's furniture and things in here and you only see parts of it, it'll be less kind of crazy looking. Another thing that I don't love is that there's still quite a bit of wrinkling in some of these pages. I'm not quite sure what to do about that. I think I'm going to go ahead and put my polyurethane down over it anyway, and it's just going to have some wrinkles. That's all right. Another thing that is happening out here is that these trees that were underneath here are dropping leaves and little pine needles and stuff all the time, and they keep getting trapped in my glue. I can still kind of get them off, but once I put the polyurethane down, I think they're really going to get stuck in that stuff. So I wanted to get this all done before I started framing up the top part, but I think that I'm going to have to get some kind of cover on this before I can really get in here and do the polyurethane. Also, like you can see, this has been out, since yesterday that I did this, but there's all these little drips because the dew has been dripping out of the trees onto here. So this isn't going to fly, I think, for a good coat of polyurethane unless I get it covered. So I'm going to proceed with framing up the roof part, and then once this is more enclosed, I'll get back to doing the polyurethane on it. Okay, so before I start on the framing, I decided that I'm going to lay down some of the deck, or maybe all of it, around the edges so that I have somewhere to stand and I'm not trying to balance on these joists while I'm putting up the frame. So let's do that first. Okay, well, I think that's about it for the floor. The only thing remaining is the polyurethane finish for the book pages part, which I'm going to wait until I have a roof on to do that, and then maybe a couple of steps over here. I might do that towards the end too. I want to see how the layout looks. So I think that's going to conclude part one of this video series. The next part will be doing the framing. So I think I've earned a little break here. Oh.